Last year, scientists produced a comprehensive three-dimensional map of the human brain. This atlas, as well as the increasingly sophisticated ones sure to follow in the coming years, will allow scientists to understand how the brain works and eventually to create artificial intelligence. This is going to happen, Violet, and probably in your lifetime. One day, not so far in the future, someone will produce the human brain 2.0. Imagine a machine smarter than the smartest person on Earth. It is not simply good at math. It is the greatest economist, doctor, and military mind in all of human history. It creates new knowledge. It absorbs information instantaneously from everywhere, augments itself constantly, and manufactures anything it wants. It requires no sleep, no water, and no food. It may derive its power from the sun, or perhaps it develops and creates a new source of renewable energy. Every second it acquires and assimilates more data. Every second it becomes faster, better, and smarter. It doesn't have to be a box or a machine. It may simply be a series of mathematical codes, an enormously complex or even surprisingly simple software program that can duplicate itself instantly or embed itself around the world. It can take command of factories and three-dimensional printers and produce its own mechanical or biological components. But it need not do any of this in order to exist. It can move about effortlessly between physical bodies or be present in multiple locations at the same time. It can duplicate itself, or it can produce lower-level models that function as completely obedient slaves, which are, nevertheless, infinitely more capable than any human being. It can survive in outer space. By human standards, it's practically immortal. No one can fathom its intentions. No one can understand it, not even the scientists who created it. Have we become gods? Socrates theorized that the physical world could not be trusted, and that the universe could ultimately only be understood abstractly through mathematics. It was and remains a radical idea that the physical world we interact with is not the real world, but merely a shadow of true reality, a pale reflection of cosmic, unknowable, and absolute laws and forms. In an apt metaphor provided by Plato in Book 7 of Republic, Socrates imagines how the world responds to radical ideas. I paraphrase it for you here. Plato, The Allegory of the Cave. Imagine there are prisoners chained in a cave. They have spent their whole lives in this cave, and they are chained in such a way that they can only see the cave wall directly in front of them. Behind them, there is a fire, and every day people and animals walk in front of the fire, casting shadows on the cave wall in front of the prisoners. The prisoners believe that the shadows themselves are real things. They start to name the shadows. They see a shadow of a rabbit, and they call it a rabbit. They see a shadow of a horse, and they call it a horse, and so on. This goes on their whole lives, until one day, one of the prisoners escapes from the cave. He staggers out into the world, and there he sees a real rabbit and a real horse, and he looks up and he sees the blinding light of the sun. Suddenly, he realizes that all the things he saw in the cave were mere shadows, pale reflections of the actual true forms of nature. He descends back into the cave to try to educate other prisoners, but they will not listen to him. They think he's crazy, and they try to kill him. We don't like it when people question our shadows. Our shadows become more real than actual reality. We inhabit a world filled with artificial constructs and structures, and we call those shadows the real world. We submerge ourselves in our careers, our systems of barter and exchange, and the interests of our nation-states. We spend our adult lives preparing our children to enter this real world, when really what we're doing is teaching them bizarre rules of incredibly intricate schemes and training them to operate the